Hello! The new cycle of Stygian Onslaught dropped this morning, so just like usual, I will try to beat the fairest difficulty with the least amount of 5-star units I can and give some tips on the way. And as always, none of the 5-star units have constellations, no one is using 5-star weapons, and the Battle Pass weapons are not allowed. So without further ado, let's get going right away. We start with the Hera, and this boss is the most interesting one of the three. It starts with a shield phase where it records all of your damage for a while, and after 50 hits it will take permanent infusion and immunity of the element you dealt the most damage with. And this is why I decided to bring a CRESCENT PIKE Rosaria. CRESCENT PIKE basically doubles the amount of hits your normal attacks do, which is going to help get the 50 hits faster. But Rosaria is still going to deal more cryo damage than physical, so the boss is still going to get the cryo infusion. And once we get the cryo infusion, it's destruction time. With Xiangling's no ICD Pyronado and Mawika's new animation cancel combos, you can melt this boss really fast. And talking about the animation cancels, the fancy combo with the double click is actually really good here. Normally it's too inconsistent to be considered worth it, but since this boss has a massive hitbox, it's pretty easy to hit, and it gets you a lot of big melts. I've also decided to give an ER sense to my Xiangling because getting the burst off cooldown is really important. Anyway, as for other teams you can use, obviously lunar reactions are good because it skips the whole element immunity thing, but other than that I've also seen people clear it with overload teams using Fischl to deal a lot of physical damage with her C1 and skip the element absorption, and I guess you can also try some Hyperbloom teams where you permanently infuse Hydro. I think some 4-star only clears should be possible too, but I also kinda wanted to show the cool Mawika combos in action, so yeah. We do one more combo and finish off the boss. The second boss is the Fatui Operative, and this one is kinda weird. If you have Arlecchino, well, congratulations, you won the fight. Arlecchino gets maximum bound of life for pretty much the entire fight, so you will absolutely demolish it in no time. Clorant also benefits from that, but not nearly as much. But other than that, let's take a look at the boss's mechanics. It spends a good amount of time with a neutral shield, which means melt and vaporize reactions will not deal more damage. And on top of that, it records damage but doesn't apply it immediately, so it means things like Favonius and sacrificial weapons will also not trigger. This means that overload teams are pretty good here, probably freeze teams too, although the boss is resistant to freeze, and I guess mono teams are good as well. Citlali will still be a good character though, because you can still melt outside of the shielded phase, and she brings a shield which can be pretty nice, because there's also an attack the boss does that will heal her if it hits you, so you either have to play very clean or bring a shield. I decided to do neither, but since Arlecchino was broken here, it ended up not mattering, and we still demolished the boss with over 40 seconds to spare, despite using 4-piece Glad with a 3-star weapon, because I'm still waiting for the game to give me a Primordial Jade Wing Spear. And then we have the final boss, the Lightkeeper, and oh boy, this one is very cringe. As you can see, I got an Ascendant Gleam tier here, good old Lauma Hyperbloom, because it makes the fight a whole lot easier. I will try to get a clear without Ascendant Gleam in a future video, but this is day 1 so I'm still tinkering around with some stuff, and if I find some alternatives I'll make a video about it. Anyway, let's explain the boss mechanics. For the first half of the fight, the boss doesn't really have anything special going on. You kinda just deal damage and that's about it. However, things start getting very bad when you get his first health bar down. You will notice that the boss now has 2 bars, a red one and a grey one. If you have Ascendant Gleam, so 2 Notcry units in the team, you basically deal damage to both of them simultaneously and just have to deal with 1 extra health bar. However, without Ascendant Gleam, you will have a small window each time you bring the red bar down where you can deal damage to increase the grey bar. And after this window, the boss will regenerate his red health depending on how much empty bar is left. This means that teams without Ascendant Gleam will have to deal a lot more damage to defeat him. Characters that have the ability to quickly deal a big burst of damage can be pretty nice here, since you can bring down a big part of the grey bar at once and greatly reduce the amount of overall damage you need to do. So characters like Skirk can be good, Mawika can be good, maybe Mualani, maybe Gaming, and so on. It's also worth keeping in mind that you will have to kill the small mobs that the boss summons, so preferably try to play a team that has a little bit of AoE, but still focus on hitting the boss as you really want to deal as much damage as you can. The DPS check is really rough without Ascendant Gleam. Anyway, we finish off the boss with one more rotation, and we get the Fearless clear. Alright, that's it for the video. As I already said, this is day 1, so I haven't had the time to mess around with teams and find interesting stuff yet, so I will try to tinker around with some more teams for a future video to see if I can avoid using Arlecchino and Nokra units. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, you can see the builds in the background here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!